Their steps seem almost effortless, but don't be fooled. You're watching Rai, Kylie, and Lila from New York's Ballet Academy East. Our Faith Saley walks a mile in their shoes.
In the world of ballet, Christmas means one thing: the Nutcracker. Stages across the country fill with twirling snowflakes, leaping candy canes, and lots of pointe shoes.
So how many pointe shoes do you think you go through in a year?
Oh gosh. Well, I can tell you, like, during a week, I would go through 10 pairs of shoes.
More than a shoe a day.
Yeah, it depends on what you're dancing, but I like a newer pair of shoe for every single show that I do.
Tyler Peck is a principal dancer and one of the Sugar Plum Fairies with the New York City Ballet. The company goes through more than 500 shoes a month during Nutcracker season.
Why do pointe shoes have to be replaced so often? Why can't you get a good pair and just use them for a while?
I think it's because we're sweating in the shoes and also we're dancing on the tip. So if there's nothing to kind of hold you up, it can be like really dangerous.
Ballerinas began dancing on their toes in the late 1700s when a dancer named Charles Didelot invented a system of wires to lift dancers off the ground, hovering on their toes, elongating the lines of their legs. This inspired the creation of the pointe shoes we know today, shoes sturdy enough to hold up a dancer without the help of wires. And centuries later, the shoes are still made by hand. One of the most respected manufacturers is Freed of London. Ray Rawlings has worked as one of the shoemakers here for nearly 30 years.
Everyone's a challenge, every shoe, every dancer.
This is a perfect shoe, Ray.
Yes.
That's so beautiful.
The makers usually don't meet the dancers. Many have never even seen a ballet. But they say they still feel connected to the art form.
You get pride in what you're doing, making shoes for these dancers, and you know, they just seem to like to bring the shoes to life.
Each maker has their own process, creating shoes that are slightly different. And every dancer has her own specifications. So when she finds a shoe that fits, she's a loyal customer.
Now, if I'm your prima ballerina and I stick with you, how do I know that my shoe was made by Ray?
Each maker's got their own maker stamp, and my one's the crown, so there can't be confusion. You know, when you do get a dancer, they stay with you for life, in all of their career.
It's kind of like matchmaking. Like, once you find your soulmate, S-O-L-E, you stick with him.
The shoes might look like they're made of wood, but they aren't. Each is made from layers of fabric and paper hardened by flour paste, almost like a paper mache, and surrounded by satin. The shoemakers then flatten out the tip with a hammer, providing a platform strong enough to support a dancer, but only for so long.
So when you put a hot, sweaty foot in there, it breaks in quick, it hits its sweet zone for a while, and then it just breaks down.
So a sweet zone is like one show?
Yeah.
Lynette Rowe is the shoe supervisor at the New York City Ballet.
How much money do you spend per year on shoes?
Almost $780,000 a year. Yeah.
For how many dancers, approximately?
Well, I mean, including the men and the women and the apprentices, it's 101 dancers in the company.
How much does it hurt to dance in these?
You want to put one on?
Sure.
This is the point. Pull them out of the bag. If you want to know what it feels like, cinch it down.
So demure.
And then you adjust your bar. There you go.
There must be a point to all this pain. So we checked in with the Sugar Plum Fairy.
So are you ready? How do the shoes feel?
Shoes feel good.
Is there any pain?
No, never while you're dancing. I think because, adrenaline and everything. Maybe sometimes after it's a little, they're a little sore or swollen, but we're so used to it.
And you're in the land of sweets. Nothing hurts.
Yeah, I know. I said this is my first show this season, and I was like watching the tree grow backstage, and it's just like never gets old. It's like the so magical.
And with that, the Sugar Plum Fairy is ready to put her best foot forward.
Circle. And
How has the Alvin Ailey Dance Company stayed together so long?
Lots of reasons. I guess my tenacity. You know, you just really wanting to have a dance company and keeping at it for 25 years.
Alvin Ailey has been telling the dancers in his company what to do for 25 years. This quarter-century celebration, solemnized in a group photo, is a tribute to fierce continuity in a world where dance troupes are usually as fragile as the flowers handed over the footlights. No hothouse lot, the company has crisscrossed the country and circled the world. The troupe's style, always Ailey-inspired, is as various as the many innovative choreographers who've been asked to contribute. It is also distinctively American, even as jazz nudges ballet and ballet lifts jazz, both aiming at the same difficult goal, perfection.
Perfection. Yes, we are seeking perfection. It is damn near impossible. You know, it's an impossible mountain, but that's why we're at this. If it were easy, I wouldn't want to be doing what I'm doing. It's because we're trying to make that perfect moment.
Pat, don't run the jump so close to him. Okay, start turning, Kevin. People, you have a lot of space, just gonna have to move out and not hit each other, you know? Okay, let's go to the end of this one, to the transition. Just the end of da-da-do-da-do-da-dum, the religious note.
That we seek this kind of excellence. I'm looking for those strings of moments. And in order to get one of those moments, one has to work at it all the time. That perfect movement, that perfect coming together of lighting and costume and music to give a theatrical experience of a certain nature.
Ailey started dancing in the 50s when he drifted into the studio of Lester Horton, choreographer of the country's first multiracial company. Drifting gave way to driving, and in 1953, after Horton's death, Ailey found himself for a brief time running the whole Horton company. He always liked being a mover and shaker, but objected to the label leading black choreographer.
Well, I'm not a black choreographer. I'm not a black anything. First of all, I'm a human being. And I really don't like being put into a box, you know. These people can only make dances about their experiences, about their black experiences as a black person. But we're people of the 20th century. My influences go back as far as, in dance, as you can mention, as far back as Petipa. You know, I mean, I've seen all those things. All that is a part of my experience, as well as my 53 years of growing up on this earth. I mean, I don't want to dance for nobody. It's always been my idea to have a company that could relate to the public, a company that was non-elitist, you know, a company that, that reflected something of the society of its time. And I think that's what I'm trying to do.
From a small-town Texas boyhood, he cut and shaped the memories which lay behind the first success of the company he formed in 1958. This is Alvin Ailey dancing the spiritual-inspired Revelations.
When I made Revelations, Revelation was to me just another dance. You know, I mean, we who make dances have to have a kind of philosophical attitude about what we do. So that Revelations, I accept now as a very special piece. There was a time when I thought, oh God, Revelations hangs around my head like a millstone, you know. I mean, having done it so early in my career, people keep saying to me, why don't you make another dance like Revelation? And I keep saying, well, I don't feel that way anymore. I've already made that statement.
Do you miss not dancing?
Of course I miss not dancing. I miss not dancing. I don't miss dancing. I don't miss performing. I do miss dancing simply because of the physical shape that it keeps you in. But I never thought of myself as a great dancer. It wasn't my idea when I started this that it would be Alvin Ailey would be the greatest dancer in the world with his company. It was always in my mind. The idea was that I would have a company which would develop dancers and choreographers and teachers, that I would provide a place where all this could happen. And yes, provide some leadership, get some ideas out choreographically. The company is my instrument and the instrument of other people, you know. So that I don't miss not being the star performer.
For Alvin Ailey, dancing would now be an indulgence, one the company cannot indulge. Once the man who did everything, he now has the more complex task of supervising the doing of everything in the ever-growing Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater.
It's harder because the fantasy keeps growing. I mean, one always wants more. I mean, I have 30 dancers in the company now. I want to have 40. I want to produce ballets with bigger scenery. I want to work with some great painters, with some great composers. I'd like to commission some scores. I'd like to do something I'd like to have a children's dance theater. The dream keeps growing, and one has to, and this has to be paid for.
We are adding 2 new works, Mr. Ailey's piece and Ulysses Dove, $50,000. The rehearsal weeks, by the way, are $60,000.
Fundraising has a clumpy sound compared to Pas de Deux, but without the powerful push of the Alvin Ailey Board of Directors and its contacts, dance would soon be back in the church basement and the gym.
Bottom line, the budgeted deficit is $1,324,000.
But I suppose we all want to be remembered and have a little time on this earth to do something that we think is worthwhile. Some giving, some inspiring, some loving. A lot of loving is what it's about. And a lot more perfection to work at. That's what it's all about. Somebody once said, I don't know who, that dancing on the stage was like when you're dancing on stage, that it's like dancing before the eye of God. The audience, collective audience is the eye of God. And one would want to be perfect dancing for the eye of God.
To most of us, the dance studio conjures up visions of the serious faces and solemn dedication of young ballet dancers. Neither solemn nor young was Paul Draper
as he brought the joyous, disciplined rattle of tap shoes to Minneapolis.
I think most people think that it's something you can learn in a short time. 6 weeks, there was an ad for once. Learn to tap dance in 6 weeks. Arthur Murray offers it in about 3. And it was not thought of really as much more than that, but it is, if you'd like to do it well, it's as hard to learn as anything else is to learn.
After half a century of tapping out his message to the world, the 70-year-old Draper, who recently taught this course at the Minnesota Dance Theater, is still as full of zest as a kid who has just learned a waltz clog.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Zest is the polish on the steely structure of his kind of dancing.
Mean with all your heart whatever it is that you do, to not try and excite an audience to either applause or excitement in the sense of, oh, what a fantastic step he just did, but rather to hope to make a difference in their own attitudes toward life.
The sharper the angle is between the tap and the floor.
What I would hope to be able to do more than anything else by the teaching is to make other people love it as much as I do.
So that you get the same sound going forward and back.
Not that they have the same steps or the same technique, though some technique is essential and is necessary. It's that they enjoy it and love it and feel it as strongly as I do.
Could you hear that there was a difference? No, you couldn't hear there was a difference. Listen again, because if you can't hear that there is a difference, you should find some other form of expression.
In the 30s, an age when a whole world tried to dance its troubles away, Draper widened his audience as he developed his special style. He took a dance form which left the upper body as immobile as a Buckingham Palace guard and carried its patterns to the fingers' ends. He arrived at the gates of Hollywood in 1935.
I was hired when, shortly after Fred Astaire had a success in films and they were combing the land for tap dancers. This was the wave of the future, was to get young people who could tap dance. And I made a film with Ruby Keeler. It was simply dreadful. I even forget the name of it. I think it was called Colleen. I didn't know how to dance. And she was about in that same league with me. I don't mean that we couldn't do steps, but there was no imagination about it.
An occasional stammer shockingly shakes Draper's fluency, and it led to his replacement in the movie Blue Skies by Fred Astaire.
I got fired from that film because we had to take about 7 or 8 takes while I tried to say the word valet. Yes, sir, I'm your valet. I got fired, and I should have been fired. It wasn't something they could ever have handled throughout the whole film, and they got Fred Astaire to do the part. He was excellent in it.
His last film was The Time of Your Life in 1947.
It had some hilarious moments in it. It was well directed, beautifully acted by Jimmy Cagney and William Bendix. I was not good in it my own self because I was over serious.
The political blacklisting of the 50s hurt the careers of Draper and his longtime friend Larry Adler, whose harmonica sinuosities had blended so well with the angularities of Draper's dancing. They were driven to Europe, where Adler still lives, but they took into exile the things that mattered.
Societies really without feeling and without honor would have found a way to make it impossible for me to dance or for Larry to play the harmonica. But all that actually happened was that we weren't hireable, which is really a smaller thing than some people might think it is. What I discovered, more than any limitations, meanings of success or failure, was that if you are a dancer, you dance.
The bright lights dimmed, but Draper's didn't. And with the dedication of one who loves his work enough to want to see it live, he has devoted many years to teaching actors and dancers his belief that in dance, the mind is the invisible partner of the body. The disciplinary demands of tap dancing have lessened its appeal in these disco days of doing one's own thing. But Draper loves his odd marriage of passion and precision and hopes that its day will come again.
I, an old turtle, remember the end of The Winter's Tale? I, an old turtle, will hie me to some withered branch where my love, who never shall be found. And I feel like that I'm a withered branch indeed to hang any future on.
You still love it?
I love it, and I know quite a few people now, students who are serious and who are anxious to do things, and who are going to explore for themselves the never-ending and limitless area of themselves and the dance.
In a Southern California strip mall, Laurent Lazur and Naomi Hota toil away at the Tango. Four hours a day of exhausting effort, so their tango will seem effortless.
Should I go later than you, or?
I think you accelerated. You didn't need to.
Few art forms require the fusion of the physical and the emotional.
The most essential thing in life comes together. It's like there's male energy, female energy.
It's a complete synchronicity with the emotion, the music, the emotion of the music, and the connection.
Back in spring, Laurent and Naomi won the U.S. Argentine Tango Championship in San Francisco. That victory earned the couple a trip here to the 2013 Tango World Cup in Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina and birthplace of the tango. Buenos Aires moves with a rhythm all its own. From hidden midnight cafes to glitzy stage shows in the tourist quarter. Tango pulses through the veins of the city, which is often called the Paris of South America. Caminito Alley celebrates the immigrant past of Buenos Aires. Beyond the postcard shops, there are remnants of the 1880s dockside tenement world, a melting pot of immigrants from Italy and Spain, along with former slaves from Africa.
They didn't know, they didn't speak nothing, just they met there, to drink or make parties, and they create this kind of dancing in between.
Together.
And Argentine people too, of course.
Julio Balmaceda is a tango star and a popular dance instructor. He says, much like jazz in New Orleans, early tango was popular in the city's red light district. Young thrill-seekers flocked to local dance halls called milongas, where the scandalous dance was all the rage.
All these kind of people escape to see this kind of, this kind of milonga with prostitutes, with all this.
It was forbidden for some of these people.
Yes.
In the early 20th century, tango found its way to Paris, where it became a massive hit. Soon, Hollywood was also swooning. Who could resist the passionate moves of Rudolph Valentino? It was tango's golden age, now celebrated at Argentina's National Tango Museum, where antique instruments and the well-worn shoes of dancing idols are revered relics. In the 1920s, Carlos Gardel was a tango superstar, the Latin American Sinatra. When he died a decade later in a plane crash, distraught fans, by the hundreds of thousands, swarmed his funeral procession in the streets of Buenos Aires. Today, in historic neighborhoods, locals still pack half-century-old nightclubs, mixing melancholy music and traditional dancing with their Sunday afternoon coffee. In the days leading up to the World Cup, our California couple, Naomi and Laurent, enjoyed the local dance scene. They even squeezed in a practice performance at the famous La Confiteria Ideal Salon, which dates to 1912. The nostalgic trappings here make La Ideal a favorite haunt of folks like 86-year-old Rocky Pepe. Tango has been his passion since he was a teenager. Rocky still steps lively every week. Dancing, he says, keeps him young. I think I will dance until my legs no longer can hold me up, Rocky says. That and the good Lord willing. In fact, tango can take a lifetime to master.
Back, change.
But Julio Balmaceda says it's a dance anyone can learn, even a total rookie like me.
Great!
No, it gets you. It just gets you.
Karina Smirnoff of TV's Dancing with the Stars joined the company of Forever Tango, which had a revival on Broadway this past summer.
It's a conversation with body language, with intention, with intensity in every single move or gesture. You become that character, you become that partner's woman. It's definitely one of the most intense and also fulfilling dances you'll ever do.
Back at the World Cup, the pressure is building. It is the moment of truth for the American team of Naomi and Laurent. All that stands between them and tango glory, 1,200 of the best dancers in the world, thousands of fans, and a brutally demanding panel of judges. The teams must perform to 3 unannounced songs. Each has a different tempo. It's the ultimate test of a couple's creativity and communication. Hours later, when the scores are finally posted, the smiles tell the tale. Naomi and Laurent finished 29th, well behind the winning Argentine team, but it is still a terrific finish for Americans. They are among the best tango dancers in the world and having it happen in Buenos Aires makes it all the sweeter.
There's something where you feel the energy of the floor like moving together. It's almost like there's something pouring out of the old buildings and the 40s, 50s music that we dance to. It echoes off of the walls and like there's something, it's very magical.
Good old down-home pickin'. There's nothing unusual about it here in Nashville, Tennessee, home of country music.
Nashville is known as Music City, USA, but a city can be many things. There are performers in Nashville who've never heard of the Grand Ole Opry. The Royal Laotian Classical Dance Troupe. Once they lived in the palace of the king in his lush and misty royal city, Luang Prabang, on the banks of the Mekong River, until Laos fell to the communists in 1975. The dancers live in Nashville now, performing not in a palace for the king, but in a public park, free just so that people will see them. It is their dream that somehow they will be able to stay together.
The Luang Prabang dance troupe, this dance troupe, the Royal Lao Classical Dance Troupe, has been in operation for 700 years, 600 to 700 years.
Alice Weimer, head of the U.S. Catholic Conference refugee program that resettled the troupe in Nashville.
It's not just dance, it's part of a culture. The stories that are depicted are based on their Buddhist philosophy. It's a religious ceremony as much as it is a dance. So it's not just preserving a dance troupe. Anybody could do that, I think. But it's really preserving their history.
That history is little more than a memory for the dancers. Most of them had to swim the Mekong River into Thailand. That is what 200,000 of the country's 3 million people did after the bloody communist takeover in Laos, only to find themselves virtual prisoners in the refugee camp at Nong Khai. It was here, surrounded by sickness and starvation, that the dream of preserving the dance troupe took shape. It was Ekau Kulavong's dream more than anyone else's to preserve the dance troupe. He is the leader, as his father was the leader before him in the palace. Ekau's brother, Su Chai, joined the dance troupe at the refugee camp in Thailand. It will not be easy for the 70 dancers to remain a group, but he believes they will. Robert first danced for the king when she was 13. To dance now makes her sad but proud because she is sharing what's left of her culture.
This performance will be our last performance.
Tao Bunling holds the hopes of these people in his hands. He has been in the United States since 1975, working for the U.S. Catholic Conference Resettlement Program.
The Royal Lao classical dance from Laos, there was the refugee to the United States, but it was happened that there be resettled in Nashville. So they will be a part of our community in Nashville.
When you think of the dances, what comes to mind when you see those dances on the stage, and what is special to you about those dances?
I feel sad. I want to cry. I was a Laotian. I was born in my country. I really love my country. But today we have to leave. And some able to make it. But we are lucky we are able to make it. Nobody died in my family. What I heard is thousand people died during the skipping. Every time when I saw them perform, this will be the third time. I'm a man, you know. I cannot draw my tear, but I still feel sad about our countries. I don't want to see the name of Laos in the map will be disappear.
Tao and the dancers are part of what for the Laotians is a large community in and around Nashville, 450 people. After 3 months in this country, the dancers have settled into a routine of gathering at Ekau's home for meals and conversation in the language they know. As leader, Ekau feels personally responsible for their survival.
He
thinks that, he have a dream. He wants to show or to keep the dance, to show the dance as the culture for all the Laotian refugees in the United States, to let them think about Laos and let them still have the memory to think about their own countries.
They believe that after they came to the United States, they're able to make money. But their thinking was easy. But the fact it's not turned out exactly like what they thought in the camp.
There are also other problems that come about with the fact that the dancers are having to work during the day, attend English classes, etc. Plus dance, in addition to that, people are tired, people are confused about being in a new culture.
Su Chai works as a helper in the kitchen of a large restaurant. He makes $3.10 an hour.
Repeat them, say them after me. Listen.
King Fa goes to school. She is learning English, so she too can get a job.
Repeat after me. Repeat after me.
I think it has taken an incredible amount of strength for the dancers to survive the trek from Laos through the long wait in the camps and finally to come to the United States and to set up a new life in a culture that is totally foreign to them. Yet against all those odds, they are still remarkably capable of becoming self-sufficient.
But to become self-sufficient, the troupe must make at least enough money to pay its own way, and that will not be easy.
They are at the very beginning of the journey, and talking with Ekao the other day about the troupe, we compared it to their trek across the Mekong River, and I said to him, you are just at the beginning of the Mekong River. You haven't even begun to swim yet in your new life in the United States. And that literally is where they are. They're just at the beginning. And yet this is probably the most important period in terms of whether or not the dance troupe will be able to survive.
The homesteaders of the Oklahoma land rush were full of American optimism, and their dancing, singing descendants have the same buoyant belief in a bright tomorrow, which is probably why Oklahoma, born in World War II, is the most popular musical comedy in our history.
Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plain, where the waving wheat can sure smell sweet when the wind comes right behind the rain. Oklahoma, every night, my honey lamb and I.
The simple sweetnesses of the show seemed, when it first opened in 1943, like soaring verities of faith and high purpose, and the times have not improved enough since then to send it back to the candy box.
And when we say, we're only saying, you're doing fine, Oklahoma, Oklahoma, okay.
Over the years, as thousands of Curleys wooed thousands of Lauries to the lovely lilt of Richard Rodgers' music, 100,000 dancers harnessed the exuberance of rustic reels to the discipline of ballet. Driving the dancers then and now was the endlessly imaginative Agnes de Mille.
What happened in Oklahoma was that we linked it inside the plot so that the plot cannot be told. You can't tell the story without going into the dance as a medium and coming out and going on with your story with dialogue and so forth. That was new.
The world has changed a great deal since Oklahoma was first put on, and it seems just as popular now. What is the enduring thing in it?
Music. I think it is a beautiful score. It really is. There's not a song in it that's wasted. And I think what people value in it is, first, its craftsmanship, which is tremendous. It's really tremendous. And secondly, the human values. They're supposed to be sentimental. So all right, call it whatever you want. It's moving, it's charming, and it's about good people that are trying hard to do something, and that's why it was a success, because it came on at the time of the war. And soldiers saw it, and they looked at what they were fighting for, and then they went overseas for the duration.
Leaping from the springboard of Oklahoma, Miss de Mille flew joyously from triumph to triumph. She created a dance style which in all its moods was indelibly signed with an explosive energy, which crackled and sparkled through 2 decades, and turned the shrill drill team of the old-time chorus into a supple and meaningful instrument in the storyteller's hands. The 1950s movie Oklahoma provided a regiment of dancers. Today's Broadway economics allow only a platoon.
We had a chorus of, there were 24 dancers and 22 singers. Now we have a combined chorus of I don't know how many, but it's much fewer, and half. And it's beautifully tailored. We've taken in the tucks, nobody can tell. And they're all very, very good. But the numbers of people we simply couldn't possibly have. And most of the shows are designed now so that you don't have any dancing at all. It's much cheaper, you know.
But won't we lose something not having dancing in our theater?
Well, I think so. And I think it's proven by the fact that everybody's trying to get in to see Oklahoma.
How did you feel right after that success of Oklahoma?
I was having a talk with a critic of the New York Times, and he said, Miss de Mille, I don't think you know what kind of a hit this is. And I said, no, what kind is it? I've never had any, so I don't know degrees of that. And he said, it's the biggest hit in the 20th century. I said, Then I can ask Lawrence for a raise. And I asked him to give me $75 a week instead of $50. And he said he couldn't afford it.
There is a silliness which leads us beyond exasperation to laughter. And Agnes de Mille can smile now at this piece of old-time penury. If Oklahoma did not make her rich, as it made so many others, it gave her the unpurchasable gift, a place of honor in the world of dance.
I spend much more time in the rehearsal studio than on stage. I actually like the process much more than I like performing it.
Modern dance is hard work, physically and emotionally demanding.
Gorgeous ladies, 4, 5, 6.
It is always changing, always in development. And so is Mikhail Baryshnikov, the man most critics call the premier dancer of our time.
3, 4, beautiful, 5, and...
I've read that you call yourself a new work junkie. Is it new work that excites you the most?
Yes, definitely. It keeps me moving. It's new people, it's new ideas, it's new challenges. It's a bit scary always, but it's a lot of fun at the same time. I'm having much more fun right now than ever before. That's why it pushes me to perform more.
What pushes the world's most famous dancer now is the modern dance company he created, the White Oak Dance Project. It started when Baryshnikov and choreographer Mark Morris decided to collaborate on a dance season. They went off and worked at the White Oak Plantation in Florida.
And from up there, we went on a tour, which was very successful and a bit crazy. And here we are after all these years, still kicking.
Baryshnikov chose a group of dancers of all ages and from a variety of disciplines. It was always envisioned as an ensemble group, not a vehicle for one much celebrated star.
On stage, we're all the same. What's important in the groups like that is a sense of camaraderie and a sense of shoulder, encouragement and fun.
The Baryshnikov name, however, does have power. And he dances at every performance. That allows the company the luxury of self-support. No grants to pursue, no benefactors to charm at endless benefits and galas. White Oak has evolved over the last 7 years. The roster of choreographers has grown. Old works are re-explored, new ones created. White Oak uses so many choreographers. Do you ever think to yourself, well, perhaps you should choreograph something?
No, I'm not a choreographer, and I don't have a talent, the choreographic talent. You know, if I can work with Trisha Brown, why I try to choreograph myself? We've seen it's so much mediocre choreography around that, you know, and if you have the privilege to work with the best, then what for?
Baryshnikov has an intense respect for the modern dance masters, such as Merce Cunningham. He constantly struggles to do justice to their work. He usually does.
It's a dance of a search for a soul, for a spirit, and it's a connection of body and spirit. In best instances, it's very simple, very pure, very plain, very democratic in a way, but very moving.
What's really special is that he digs really deep into the material.
Right, so actually right there then it's like you hit a wall and you...
Meg Stewart is a new choreographer this season with White Oak.
Left arm, right?
The premiere of her dance piece, Remote, featured Mikhail Baryshnikov.
He keeps adapting it and playing with it each time we run it. So you feel like he's kind of searching for different angles inside the material. He doesn't just give one reading that could be safe or could work. He keeps exploring as he's performing.
Baryshnikov's whole life has been defined by change, exploration, risk-taking. Defecting from the former Soviet Union to find artistic freedom, he achieved international stardom. But that was not enough. Instead, Baryshnikov sought challenge. He wanted to learn, to collaborate. He was creative, imaginative, and restless. He studied and danced the new, from Martha Graham to Twyla Tharp.
Well, Twyla Tharp opened the doors for me. She was the first choreographer who gave me a lot of hope that there is life behind Sleeping Beauty and Swan Lake, and Bader and Giselle and Coppelia, that I can do something with my own mind and my own body, do something different and very special.
Mikhail Baryshnikov, one of the greatest classical dancers of the 20th century, is now, at age 49, one of its premier interpreters of modern dance.
It's always written that because of your knee injuries, you had to stop doing ballet, but that isn't true.
No. I stopped dancing classical work in my prime. I still could do certain classical parts very easily. But why? It was just another story. And this changed from the classical dancer to a dancer who I am now. It didn't happen in one day. It took me 20 years of frustrations, discoveries, endless amount of hours in the studios and working with different choreographers and questioning myself and learning and all those things. But I think I am a better dancer now than I was 10 years ago. Maybe I'm a much less sensational dancer, but I'm a better dancer. I know that.